Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, joined here by my good colleague, buddy, and pal, the one, Mr. Brian E. Roach. Brian, what's going on, my friend?
It's a beautiful victory Monday. I mean, how much more can you ask? The Ravens blow a big lead and the Steelers eck one out.
Ooh, you know, we got some, I'm going to start right out the gate and just say it. There's going to be some bitching and complaining, maybe not so much from us directly, but I'm listening to a lot of bitching and complaining. You know, my now 12.
Oh, I got plenty of that to do.
There's some, and people are going to bitch and complain about the Steelers defense, which we'll get to, but Baltimore. Yikes, what is it, 17, 18 games now that John Harbaugh has had double-digit leads in the fourth quarter and blown, and people talk about coaches, they talk about firing Tomlin, they talk about, I even was texting you during the game, Terrell Austin, but I did say one thing during the game. I said, patience, my friend, patience. And you're like, well, I don't see it. You're ever my optimism, your realism. And I was just like, hey, I know what's going to happen with this game. They're going to run out of game script. They're going to put it in the hands of Aaron Rodgers. They're going to put it in the hands of Justin Fields. And I have a lot more confidence in Aaron Rodgers to do something with his veteran experience over what we've seen with Justin Fields. But I have to get my digs on the Ravens, though, too. You know what I mean? We had like a mix of both things in week one in the NFL. We had some sloppy games, and boy, the afternoon slate was a sloppy mess of football. You had it some in the early ones, too, like the New York Giants and the whole Russell Wilson thing that's going on there. He led the team in rushing, and he's getting roasted today for throwing out those same corny, you know, I left it all on the field, and it's like he scored 6 points. Aaron Rodgers did a little more than that with the Steelers. I think our expectations were a little flipped, but this game had a 38.5 over under, and we were messing around before, you know, in the pregame show. I couldn't do any math. I couldn't figure that out. I said that's 16 points for each right. Of the teams or whatever. No, it wasn't. But 34-32 final. I think the most important thing to take away from all of this before we really dig deep in, like you said, it's a victory Monday. My 12-year-old daughter, I had to explain to her what a victory Monday meant. And she's like, oh, that's a good thing. So, like, you know, last night, she's like, we get the party tomorrow, and that being today. So that's actually kind of funny. But she's not wrong. So we are happy. And if it had been flipped and it was 34-32 Jets over the Steelers, oh, man, we would be a miserable bunch right now with a lot of things to complain about. So winning solves a lot of problems. But these are the ones you have to collect early on. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals what that was like last season.
Absolutely. Look, this is one of those examples that Tomlin or any coach would say, hey, I'd rather get out of the stadium with an ugly win than with a loss. They've got plenty of tape. They got plenty of things to go over. They got plenty of stuff. It's a coach's it's a specific kind of dream that I can't mention because it's a family affair here, but it's a coach's bleep dream, and because they have nothing but tape of things to coach on, right? They've got tape of tons of coachable moments that they can then attack over the next week and try and correct. But yeah, you know, you walk away from it. I will say this. You know, I was often quoted as saying last year, at the end of a victory, I would be like, I don't even feel like we won this game. I feel dirty for having to win this game. It doesn't even feel good. I at least feel good that we won this game, right? I don't feel bad about winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I feel good about it. I know there were some people that were throwing some dirt. They're talking about individual players. They're talking about, oh, here we go. Steelers are going to go to the Super Bowl now, and
well,
and all this other
step
stuff.
off that bandwagon real quick. I ain't ready to go there yet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that just yet. Okay, let's start with Aaron Rodgers. Of course, he's the man of the hour. Just did something that no Steelers quarterback has done since 2020. Got to go all the way back middle of the season, then I think November-ish of 2020 with Ben Roethlisberger, and that's throw 4 touchdown passes in a game. And I know there was like, you know, a little shovel pass, Jonnu Smith, but man, let me tell you, Rodgers got the ball. It's the fourth quarter, and I wasn't like wincing in my seat. I wasn't like, you know, my butthole puckering about whether or not the Steelers were going to be able to put points on the board. He comes out there and scores. Now, mind you, the heart palpitations and all this mess, I didn't need this in week 1 just yet. It's like, did this team ever just make it easy?
Why would you ever expect it to be otherwise, though?
But, I mean, Rodgers, you know, he cool as a cat, man. Just comes out there. Chris Boswell, we'll talk about this in a little bit later, too. Ice in his veins. But I'm like, you know what? I think these guys got this. Like last year, it was like if a team crossed 20 points, you're like, that's it. It's over. They're not going to be able to do this. The defense has failed. And while the defense failed, we weren't expecting the offense to look anything like what it kind of did. Now, running game wise, maybe not as good, but let's stick with Rodgers real quick.
Maybe?
Well, not a maybe.
Good? Okay.
Well, because I don't know. I'm not sure where the efforts are there. But
it was ass.
Yeah, let's stick with the quarterback though, because this is the big one. Everybody was wondering, does Aaron Rodgers still have it? Can this old man pull out some magic? And I know not everything was as clean as you would like it to have been, but he came out 4 touchdowns, 2 in under a minute, fourth quarter drive to set up a game-winning field goal. Though that all has to account for something, right? And in his presser, I mean, he threw touchdowns. He had passes to 7 different guys, and then he also had 4 different players who caught a touchdown pass, including Ben Skoranek.
Wasn't that awesome? I was so happy for him.
Yeah, and one of the things that came out of this too was, I think it was like the post-game show, and Mike Pursuta and Charlie Batch were talking, and he said, you know, one of the things that Rodgers was emphasizing, and we saw this last year with a certain guy, initials, well, I don't want to say GP, and you don't really run the route when the play's not coming to you. And you have some lazy ass players like him and Deontay Johnson, and you can see Johnson's flamed out of the league already. There isn't a team who wants to put up with the stink that's on him. And when you get into that kind of groove, everybody's got to be all hands on deck. And this is Ben Skoranek. He probably wasn't supposed to play. If you're playing Madden,
there's no way that play's going to Ben Skoranek.
You're playing Madden. I was playing the trial weekend. They gave you a free weekend of Madden. And for Skoranek, I'm trying to figure out what button on this controller do I hit. Do I press the stick in to pass to him? And he's like R1 or something like that. He's not even one of the face buttons on the controller if you're looking for him. That's hilarious.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers in his post game had the best take on it. He's like, I just look out there and I'm thinking, holy Moses, Ben Skoranek's going to score the first TD. I can't even believe it. Even he can't believe it. There's, like I said, there's no way that play's going to Ben Skoranek. But again, that's, you know, you hit it nail on the head. So, you know, I don't always give you your props when you're right, but this time you're 100% right. You know, this is the difference between selfish, self-centered, miserable people, and I'm sorry, that's just the way I view it, like Deontay and Pickens. Talent coming out of the wazoo, but it ain't worth the drama that goes along with them. Those guys, let's say they weren't the target. They're gonna give up. We've seen them do it. They're gonna give up on the route. It's not coming to me. I don't need to run. This is the kind of mindset that is Steelers football and should be Steelers football.
I'm with you, man, and at different levels, and I think it's going to come together. That's why we're actually excited about it, because not only the W, it's because of that they got this W too, and I think eventually it's going to gel, and there's some other things to talk about. But Aaron Rodgers asked about, Ben Skoranek, kept the touchdown ball. He goes, I've got plenty of those. He could have that one. Which is great.
He also said something, I don't want to give him too much praise because I don't need his head to get any bigger than it already is.
Well, some other quotes from Aaron Rodgers as well. He was asked about, of course, playing against Aaron Glenn and some of the things within the Jets organization. And, his comment was there were probably people in the organization that didn't think I could play anymore, so it was nice to remind those people I still can. And then, of course, the other comment from was also, he said, I was happy to beat everybody associated with the Jets. And it's funny because he was warming up like a guy that's with the other organization that's a friend of his, and he's been around long enough as Aaron Rodgers has, and you're gonna network with a lot of people. Football in a lot of ways is community, it's family. We know these coaches are nomads and whatnot. So I know you're looking around for something. You're looking for a sarcasm sign.
I was, but I can't find it. I don't know where it is.
When you find it, I'll kick back over to you because I know he's got something coming.
I don't. I just wanted the sign,
which is okay. But if you remember in our pregame, I was talking about how they dragged him all the way out to New York to have this meeting with Aaron Glenn that lasted 2 minutes, and they basically told him he was going to be released. So he stuck it to him. 22 of 30 passing. He had a 136.7 QB rating, 244 yards, which we said, wasn't like the big needle mover. Wasn't like he threw for 400 yards. This isn't. Although Joe Burrow didn't have a Joe Burrow game against the Cleveland Browns either, so we shouldn't talk about that too much.
I won my fantasy game against Joe Burrow with Aaron Rodgers, and I had our running back starting, and not the one who actually played, the one that was running kickoffs back.
I tried to warn you, my friend. Now I had Jalen Warren in my flex, but I also
I don't actually care. I told you I don't play these things to win. I play to be a Rooney.
I do. I'm defending champion, man. I just outscored everyone. We'll see what the Monday night game's like, but it also helps that I had Josh Allen and James Cook too on that Sunday night game. So they just
I had to pick somebody as another running back, so I do have Derrick Henry.
That wasn't so bad, but imagine that, man. Who would have thought that fumble? And that's just wild. Let's get to some more of the offense here before we run too far amok. The Aaron Rodgers stuff was great. Good for him too. You get to
absolutely
talk about this
before you actually move on. Let me make a one point about this.
Okay.
Because I've had people coming. Oh, are you ready to eat your words? Are you happy Aaron Rodgers is here now? The answer is still no. I've said all along, I'm okay. I will root for this team to win every game, but I'm okay if they had an 0-16 season or an 0-17 season. Why? Because of next year. I'm okay with it. I was wedded to it, and I'm sticking to my guns on this in the sense that I don't really care what happens this season. If we win, fantastic. I'll be excited. If we don't, I don't care. Do I like Aaron Rodgers? No. Am I warming up to him? Maybe.
And once again, diva quarterbacks, but that's my quarterback. So
yes,
once again,
I will root for him, and I did root for him during the game, and I will, but I'm still not backtracking and going, yes, this was the greatest idea since sliced bread, and I'm thrilled, and they knew everything in advance.
Let me talk about your...
And let me actually come up to... I have more points about this.
Yeah.
See, you told me there wasn't going to be any bitching and complaining. Well, here comes my bitching and complaining. Let me caveat this by first stating the obvious. Luck is a part of the damn game, right? It goes both ways. You have to be lucky to win sometimes, and sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. He had 2 interceptions that should have been caught. Let's be very clear about that. There were 2 balls he threw that absolutely should have been picked, and those things happen. They don't win this game, but he got lucky. They weren't. Is he the same guy that he has been in past years? No, and you are going to get games that flip that script coming down as we move along in the season, where he's going to try one of those wrist flicks that go out, quick release, that he's hoping goes to the guy, and it ain't going to get there, and it's going to go to the wrong guy. But you take the good with the bad. I will take it because I'm not as invested in this season as I should be. I will take it because it was 4 touchdown game. But like I said, you've got obvious visual evidence that there's a chance that script flips at some point during the season.
No way. Not that DK Metcalf touchdown, which I had a couple angles on, or not touchdown, I'm sorry, that reception that touched 4 different players.
That isn't even one of the ones I'm counting as a possible interception.
Yeah, but you know what? And there were some calls in this game. Alex Highsmith got like absolutely mugged. And I got moved to the offense because you should have probably had Calvin Austin maybe pass interference near the end of the game too. What about that, man? I mean, I'm going to come back to the running game, but Calvin Austin, a lot of people talking about that next man up, that second wide receiver besides DK, and Rodgers was incredibly comfortable throwing him the ball, called his number multiple times, including the one of the touchdowns in the game too. Yep. And that's the same play they ran to Skoranek, by the way. He acknowledged they ran that play twice, so teams are going to need to get that on film and do their homework. It's kind of like, hey, if there's anybody on the field that you should be watching or paying attention to, should be this guy. And that happened in the college ranks this weekend too, Brian. My Youngstown State Penguins, the quarterback broke the conference record, not just the school record, running the football. He had like 231 yards before halftime. And it was like, is there anybody going to spy the quarterback? Put a guy on him, you know what I mean? And that happens in different spots. You see it throughout the pros and stuff like that. But Calvin Austin, I thought, was a bright spot. Metcalf, you know, we could have all wanted a little more. We're greedy. We want more. Austin had 4 for 70 and a touchdown. Metcalf didn't have a TD. He was targeted 7 times, caught 4 of those for 83 yards, a 31-yard long and a 30 long to Austin. Those are all very positive plays that I'm happy about. I thought the passing game, I mean, Rodgers was getting rid of the ball fairly quick when he could. Let's give the Jets some credit too. Defensively, their front, very good defensive front, very good. Their secondary, Sauce Gardner got his hand in there more than once. But Rodgers, it's a relief seeing him get rid of the ball fast enough when he can, because like the quick flip to Freiermuth, for example, or even when he caught 12 players on the field and tried to fling one to Jonnu Smith, I was like, whoa, what the hell just happened? And then TV caught up with, we got that. That's the kind of thing you get. Yeah, I mean, I'll let you finish the positivities because I've got negatives on the offensive side too. Oh, of course, we've got offensive line, but I was going to say you've got one number 77 who looked like pure garbage yesterday. He was having his lunch money taken. I had somebody immediately come to me, who's his backup? I'm like, you don't want to see him either, I don't think, unless they move Spencer Anderson over, or Calvin Anderson, who did not play, or Andres Pete, who I don't think we want to see play either. So I think Jones will get there. I think that's a very good point to bring him up right now. Not only the front he was playing against, Rodgers moved up into pocket on 1, so everybody's like, 3 sacks. Okay, 2 for sure, and he was getting dominated. Not gonna make a whole bunch of excuses for him. It was not a good, clean game. And the game turned around when, Brian, when number 80 started getting some PT and getting reps late in that third quarter, they started putting him out there as a little bit of help. And once they got that help, the Steelers were able to start moving the ball a little bit, but otherwise a really stinky run game. 11 carries for Jaylen Warren for 37 yards, 3.4 average. Kenneth Gainwell 7 for 19 at 2.7. Caleb Johnson got the 1 carry, like I said, minus 2 yards, didn't get anywhere. A combined effort 2.6 average with 53 yards total on the ground. So it's a good thing you had Aaron Rodgers available to sling the ball around, because if you didn't and you had that run game last season, you think Russell Wilson or Justin Fields comes out of this, even if it's Justin Fields versus Justin Fields in a hypothetical video game world, we're talking about that. I don't think either of them could carry the team on their back throwing the ball around with this kind of performance. And we saw that against the Colts last year with Fields, actually. So I'm going to say no, it wouldn't have happened. I agree. I don't think it would have happened either. I believe that Justin Fields played well yesterday, more so than you do. You've gone back and forth about certain things. Do I think he's perfect? No, absolutely. Do I think I would have rather had him as my quarterback yesterday? No. But
I think he played better in this scheme and led the team better in this scheme than we saw him play last year. So there may be hope for him in New York. I said it last year. I still don't think the guy is a franchise level quarterback, but this, I think Jets fans should come away thinking, well, he didn't suck, which is true, because I don't think he did.
Yeah, they may have more to be positive about, because let's face it, their team was so low down the totem pole here that, I thought it was funny. That was this one image of Fields. It's like he's almost just looking at the camera. TJ said, "I've had enough," and just sliced his way in there. But that one run, he's still good at faking. There's still things he's good at. That's why he's still starting in the NFL. But are you going to see much what happens when they get film on him, and by the fourth game he starts turning into the way he was in week 4 last year with the Steelers? You're going to need some defensive effort from those Jets. They may end up being like 2-2 or 3-3 through the beginning.
See, I'm gonna flip the script on you and go, I'm not ready. There's so much about what we saw yesterday that I'm just not ready to make judgment on yet. Is the Jets offense really that good, or is the Steelers defense really that bad? I think the answer to both is probably no, but I don't know it yet. And I want to be able to say that, but man, it was so bad. At times it was really, really bad.
Oh yeah,
but
they got
it's early in the season.
At times, yeah, they got dominated.
They were bullied.
They were
absolutely bullied.
Aaron Glenn's blueprints coming from the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell running the football, and then of course, if you're going to look at what the Steelers were like at the end of the season, and by no means was Justin Fields a Lamar Jackson out there. In fact, it's a good point to start bringing up defense here and switch gears from the offense, unless you had some more about the line. It was pretty much Broderick Jones.
No, the line, it was Broderick Jones was not good. The line did not get pushed the way that you'd want them to. The run game was stagnant because of it. I'm just not impressed with the way the offensive line is playing and gelling yet. I hope they get better. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so that gives us an opening to just go straight to defense here, since we're talking about Fields already. And again, not trying to rain on his parade, but he's not Lamar Jackson either. You saw what Lamar Jackson was capable of doing against Buffalo, and it was just like, wow, he just makes it look like child's play. The guy can't be tackled. In Fields, probably at the end of the game, if you want to go all the way down to the nastiest guy that's going to bring some Steelers attitude with him for the season, Jalen Ramsey. You need a guy like that. That is a guy that wasn't hired for his disposition, so to borrow a phrase from Greg
Mr. Lloyd.
Yes, or James Harrison or any of the other greats. I think Ramsey, even though he's a corner, wow, did he lay a hit? But I mean, there's people that were debating whether or not Fields could. I texted the same thing. I'm like, why did he just run? I mean, any other time you would have seen him run for it, and then he tries to throw. So they're trying to change some things there. I think he slides. I think he could get there if he tries to dive. I know there were people closing in on him, but then again, if you hit him and then one of the referees gets an angle and deems that it's dirty, you're going to get a flag thrown there. There's all kinds of things that could happen. And instead, he flips the ball out to Wilson, who for a split second might have been open, and then Ramsey said, "Not in my house."
Well, this is the way I look. Yeah, this is the way I look at that play. I think he made the right choice. I don't think he should have run. I think there's too many ifs. Just the same way you can take the positive ifs. There's a chance he gets hurt. There's a chance he doesn't make it and the game's over. He had a guy open. He hit his receiver. The ball was where it needed to be. You gotta assume, even with that kind of hit, you expect your receiver to hold on to that ball. He didn't. So I'm not going to blame Justin Fields for that decision. I am going to give Jalen Ramsey a hell of a lot of credit for blowing Garrett Wilson the hell up, because that's what he did, and that's what he should do. Good, super clean, nice, powerful hit, knock the ball ajar. That's what you expect out of him. But I don't think there's second guessing what Fields tried to do. They're trying to make him be aware, keep his eyes downfield, and he did the right things. I'm betting the coaches on the Jets are going, that's what we want you to do. It didn't work out this time, but that's okay.
Yeah, you had a few of them that did work out, but wow, did Ramsey show up at the right time? Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt started to show up at the right time. I know the defense was putrid throughout a whole great deal of that.
The run defense specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, there were problems in the passing game, but I'm willing to go. We lost to Sean Elliott. JP was out for a little while. I can live with that. And guys are going to get lost in coverage at times,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's going to happen. But the run defense, look, this is what we now are all hanging our hat on. When is Derek Harmon getting back? Because, oh my God, was it bad?
Yeah, it was really bad, and I'm not sure that you could. And those guys up front got to help these linebackers. I know there's a little bit of shade for Peyton Wilson. Now, Cole Holcomb didn't play a single snap in the inside linebacker core. I was actually shaking my fist at the TV as to why Malik Harrison was out there. I saw him out there with goal line. In fact, the one big run that Breece Hall broke was during a substitution. They brought him out there. He's wearing 50 and doesn't look anything like Ryan Shazier did. I'm sorry. I wasn't a big fan of that signing to begin with, and I'm not sure that he's probably going to be on borrowed time if they continue to break some plays like that. Isaiah Loudermilk.
Well, and he got dinged too. So
yeah, Isaiah Loudermilk played a little bit too much in this game too, of my opinion. 31 snaps, 48% of the game. Let me see. Wyatt Black. I thought Wyatt Black actually did pretty decent. He wasn't out there at first either, but he definitely was eating some bodies and making some people, pushing some people back. It's his first game. I'm not expecting him to take over the world, so to speak, right? But Loudermilk, he's out there because he's the more veteran guy. I mean, you gotta get Black out there. You gotta get Harmon out there. Benton has got to be a little more assertive. Better. He played more than Hayward did. Hayward played 43 of the 64 defensive plays. Benton played 47 of those. Joey Porter only played 69% of the game. Usually we'd say nice. It wasn't so nice. But Brandon Echols was also getting a little bit of revenge game on his own too in reserve. Jack Sawyer was out there for 15 reps as well as a rookie in place of Nick Herbig. So there are areas for improvement. And of course, we mentioned Deshaun Elliott, and I haven't seen anything yet on whether or not how serious Elliott's injury is. So I'm hoping it's not too much, because this is one area of the team where they did not. They're not deep. No, not deep at all. You're lucky you've got Chuck Clark out there. If you don't have Chuck Clark, they're really cooked. So still no updates yet on Elliott. And then of course Sebastian Castro from Iowa, UDFA, undrafted, is the only other guy in reserve there. So there's a lot of concern. You play against maybe a different quarterback or different teams. Now they're lucky they got like the Seahawks. They've got the Patriots.
Boy, they did not look good yesterday.
No, Seahawks were all over the place, and they played at home. Against the Niners team, they lost George Kittle. They had already had some receivers that were already on the shelf, like Ayuk and I think Jennings and stuff like that. So that was very sloppy. It was another sloppy game, just like LA and Houston was a sloppy game too. So we've got a lot of this. I'll also say too,
extension of the preseason. Missed
tackles. It was like these guys were so close to making the play and weren't, and then there was nobody else that were there, and then sometimes they were just blown right off, getting their brakes blown off of them. So Hall 107 yards, and then the Jets in total 182. Fields had 48 of that, including 2 touchdowns running. That one, no one and her brother TJ should have been the contain there, and just totally sold out for the halfback dive right down the middle. So oh man, this is the thing that drives me crazy though, is like seeing all the national pundits first thing, and this isn't, I'm beyond Justin Fields. I actually wish the Steelers defense had played better and secured more of this, because you'll have more of the fans saying, oh, they should have kept this guy, and this is the only game they'll have in their memory, kind of like Zach Mettenberg many years ago with the Tennessee Titans. It was like the only good game he had. He had 22 pass attempts. And I can't think of one, maybe just the one with the blown coverage that was a 33-yard long. Did any of the other passes go 10 yards? There was a lot of stuff that got flipped out. Breece Hall
was
had
it the touchdown that you're talking about?
Yeah, the touchdown. The touchdown being the big play. There were,
no,
I guess he had a few, but
you accept that limitation with him, right? And it's about growth. It's the same thing. He's been in the league long enough, but he comes from a system, at Ohio State when, as a running quarterback that was a little different. It's more the Urban era than it is the Ryan Day era. So, there's a history there. Those kind of quarterbacks never really did that well. So the fact that he's hung around as a potential starter for 5 years now, he's got talent, he's got ability. I advocated for keeping him, but only because I was ready to have a bad year.
Sorry to disappoint you there, Brian, but Justin Fields played with Garrett Wilson, and everybody's so shocked that they had chemistry, and it's like, come on, man. They were together for 2 years in college. This is like Burrow and Chase. They're just picking up where they left off. And Fields is familiar with the Steelers and their defensive schemes and system and tendencies, and he had some things that he could have an ace up his sleeve. So you may not have the same thing when Sam Darnold comes to town for the home opener with Seattle on next Sunday.
Well, he's certainly not going to have the same mobility.
No, not at all.
And we'll see the Jets, who I think have the Bills next week. I'm interested. What I want to see is, what do these two teams look like next week, right? I'll be in Pittsburgh to see what they look like, and I want to talk about 2%ers. Hang around and we'll talk. But I'm going to be in Pittsburgh for that. And I know you will be. I want to see, what do the Jets do against the Bills? We know the Bills look like a pretty good team, but hell, their defense gave up 40 points. It was to the Ravens.
Well, the Ravens likewise to the Bills. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. That's what I was talking too. I think the blueprint that worked against the Steelers is a carryover from last year when you're talking about primarily a Detroit Lions style offense. And I know they were missing the one guard, and you thought that would have made a bigger difference than it made no difference for the most case. And then getting to Fields, you only sacked him once, and it was like, well, you know what? For the most part, I was just waiting for him to hold on to the ball for too long, which he started to do a little more in the fourth quarter. I said
they had opportunities to get to him, and he was just elusive enough.
They missed him
to get away. Yep. They missed him.
They missed him. So let's we got to talk about special teams, because there's so much special teams play that we can't overlook. This is the deciding factor in this game.
You got both sides of it too. You got good and bad.
Kenny G, the game starts with them giving up gobs of yards on these kick returns. I hate the balls coming out to the 35 or whatever now on a touchback. They changed so much with this over the years. I'm old enough to remember when they started on the 20, but now everything is against the offense, and they want these high scoring games, which they got. You could have took the over in this one or the Sunday night game and still been good, right? But Ben Skoranek diving on the grenade, and Mike Tomlin just talking about him being a football player foremost. Kenny G's the one who knocked that out. Kenneth Gainwell still impresses me enough.
I can't stand that nickname.
I don't like it either. It's not good.
I can't stand that nickname. It does not bring good connotations to people who lived through the 80s, 90s when you say Kenny G. It's just, I'm sorry, it makes me ill.
No, you know what, bro? His name's Gainwell. It's the perfect football name. Eric, who used to write here, brought that up when he was first, coming out of the draft. He had his whole all names team for the NFL draft, and that was one of the guys, Kenneth Gainwell. But he's grown on me. I think he's a good all-around player, and I felt that he was going to get more reps than Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson's going to take some time to integrate into this.
Let me just say this.
And they almost put the ball on the floor. How many times? He lost one too.
Yeah. How many of you think that Caleb Johnson is going to run one back for a TD on special teams?
No.
Anyone? I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you found the sign for the sarcasm, because they got major problems with the whole kick return. I think when Johnson gets maybe more offensive reps, you're going to see Gainwell maybe start to be more of the returner back there, maybe someone else. Maybe this Dante Kent comes off of IR and they do something with him too.
Yeah.
So
he just looked plodding and slow. He did not look like he had burst at there.
It's Tomlin's MO, man. He won't. I'd actually be shocked if Kent is a returner, but maybe that was a pick for Danny Smith, one of those late round picks for a special teams contributor, because Tomlin does not like to use defensive backs in those roles. He also doesn't typically, he doesn't put like any starters or anybody. For years he hated having Antonio Brown there in that same spot. But the rule change with the kicker balls, Brian, pretty big thing. Now that they can break them in and bring them there on their own, we're going to see these guys hitting these from major distance and all around the league, right? So Chris Boswell going for 60, I had no doubts whatsoever. I know
I told you it was good from 70.
I mean, we had that dude that kicked it little or whatever that was in the preseason. Yeah, with the Jaguars, and I had forgotten about this rule change until I saw Pat McAfee talking about it, and it is a pretty big deal. They weren't allowed to. They got the balls like before, like maybe a couple hours before game time, and the equipment managers would then start to work their magic, whatever it is. They bring out sandpaper, a Brillo pad, inflate, deflate, start working the laces, massaging it, squeezing it, deflate them, inflate them, whatever they were doing, the hocus pocus. And now that they get to actually work with these things throughout the week, they get to bring them. You could bring out the trusty old, this is the old, whatever, the old rag or whatever.
This is my 85-yard kickball.
Yeah.
This is my 70-yard kickball.
Well, it's like pulling the golf clubs out of the bag, It's like, hey, I got the driver, I got my sand wedge. You got like the ones that you need, and it's pretty cool to see Boswell. I mean, everybody's looking there and it's like, well, this is going to be his career long. And I'm like, okay, he's on turf. He's in this stadium where there's, it seems like the weather has died down. There's not a lot going. And he just hit a 56-yarder earlier in the day. I had absolutely zero doubts he was going to do that. And I also, from a standpoint of what were the Steelers trying to do on those last few plays, maybe we can go through the game book and go play by play. They were going to get at least enough for Boswell to be able to kick from there. He's got ice in his veins, and Tomlin is as bold as he used to be with Ben Roethlisberger back in the day. Well, I've got Ben. Well, he's got Boz. So he's going to throw Boz out there. He only needs 3 points to win. Boom. He's going to hit it. So special teams there. Boswell, you can't say anything different. Waitman on the whole.
Nothing negative to say about Boz.
Waitman could have had a little bit better of a punt at the one point when they really needed that. You got the big play by Gainwell and Skoranek. Some of the coverage stuff not as good as you want. And then, of course, the penalty too, that would have been a shank of a extra point, could have been a big difference maker in this one also. So
could have been,
wasn't, thankfully. But overall, for a week one game, our bar was here. There's certain things, I mean, penalty wise, you didn't see any holding. I don't think the Steelers got tagged with any pass interference calls that I could think of.
I don't recall any. Did they even get a defensive hold? Like the refs were not, other than a couple of really egregious, stupid calls.
Well, the Jalen Ramsey one, where what's he going to do? He's trying to go get to Justin Fields.
That was the worst. I'm sorry. That first of all, he didn't even hit the guy. Low. He went around the guy to try and get Justin Fields. I'm sorry. If that's a penalty, then you need to change the rules because that's dumb. It wasn't a penalty. He's not even trying to engage the blocker. That's just nonsense. That was one of the worst calls ever.
Yeah,
and you know how much I love the refs. You know the refs are my favorite people. You know I think they do a great job. Oh, I love them so much.
Day in and day out. This is all Brian does. He texts me and he's like, "Have I told you how much I appreciate the NFL and their officiating department?" Hey, but we got some instant replay stuff throughout all the games. This what is it? The instant replay. It's actually instant now. It's called replay assist, but it's supposed to be
replay assist,
but it's never been as instant. Like, they need to just change the word from instant replay to just replay. Maybe they have, and I'm just an old timer myself. But Yeah, at least that's been getting some things. We didn't get to see any virtual measurements. The one spot was horrible for the Steelers too, a whole yard behind. Who was that?
I don't remember that one. But.
Yeah, because then it went to a third down and we just totally folded like a chair and then gave the ball back. I'm trying to remember where that was on the play on the field, but maybe I'm also getting my games mixed up. But that's possible
I'm going to
too.
let you know right now. I have zero confidence in this team gaining 1 yard. None.
Well, that's very true.
Not on a 3rd and 1, a 4th and 1. If they go for it, I'm going to be like, oh, crap, why are you just giving them the ball there? I just don't have confidence that they can gain a yard on the ground.
And that's like, where do you go from here? So where do we go from here? You got to see Deshaun Elliott's his progress, injury status for him. Derek Harmon, his status, because I think him and Black are going to be the difference makers, but they got to be on the field, right?
Yep.
Loudermilk is just an extension of last year. Hayward, was he in football shape? Maybe not as much, but he's also an older dude, so you got to kind of try and preserve him. You need some other guys that are out there to be able to shoulder the load some more. We'll be back around with the Seahawks preview, of course, too, but do we see Rodgers with very many other 4-touchdown games?
I will tell you, I actually kind of expect it. Not that he's going to throw 4 touchdowns every game. I mean, clearly he's not going to do that. There's going to be better defenses with better secondaries. Although Sauce Gardner's really good, but there's going to be situations where he's not going to do that, obviously. But I think you've got a chance here where there is much more of a threat currently on the passing side of the ball. The problem will be if they cannot fix the run game. Nobody's going to defend it, and it's all going to be pass defense, and then it's going to dry up. You cannot be a one-dimensional team, and they've got to address that one way or the other.
Kind of, in a way, I'm wondering how people are going to match up. Even if they play dime, you got to cover this guy, Jonnu Smith. You got to cover Pat Freiermuth. We talked about Darnell. I think Darnell Washington may even get involved too. There was a lot of talk about, hey, the Steelers got all these great tight ends. And what was Washington? Hold on, let me find Washington's participation. He ended up playing 46% of the game, but I swear if I go and look, I didn't notice him.
I hardly remember him at all.
Not earlier in the game, at least. I did see when he started to come out there, and they didn't always put him on the left with Broderick. He did go in some motion. He did help on the right side some, or he would swing out or kick back out over. So they mixed up those looks just enough. And even so, Aaron Rodgers on a little bootleg play, no less, too, on one of those touchdown passes. So, teaching old dogs some new tricks. I would like to see Cole Holcomb. I think Cole Holcomb could be a demon when it comes to being on the defense. That's not to say anything about Peyton Wilson, but some people were kind of dogging him. But what are you going to do when people get second level blocking and the defensive line doesn't do anything?
Yeah, when the defensive line is essentially a dryer sheet, for the offensive line, none of those guys on any team can handle constantly having to fight off, offensive linemen. Linebackers thrive. That's the whole basis of Dick LeBeau's defense, is to keep the offensive linemen off the linebackers and let them make plays. They're not going to make plays if the offensive line is always at second level.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a little more from TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith at home. It's going to be disruptive. West Coast team coming into town. So I expect to see a little bit more there as well. I'd like to see the run game kind of break free. I don't have the highest expectations for that, however. Seahawks, let me see, 49ers, they have Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson. I mean, their average was only a 3.3 overall, but they ran it 36 times for 119 yards. So the Steelers, not as committed. They only ran the ball 20 times, but only had to throw it 30 also. So that all worked in their favor. So we're going to need to see time of possession error in their favor, maybe a little bit more, sustain some drives. But very clearly, the biggest thing that, aside from saying, well, Washington got out there, and I like Jalen Ramsey. What about, we used to always say, offense, why aren't you giving the Steelers defense a breather, giving them a break, giving them an opportunity to go out there and make plays? that wasn't the case. They had more than enough opportunity to sit there, get some water, get some rest. Aaron Rodgers was running the show out there.
Clearly, that's not the right move for them. They need to be on the field constantly.
I mean, the three and outs. Just talking about possession wise, the Steelers had 2 3 and outs. Oh no, 3 and outs. I'm sorry. There was one in the second quarter. They only gained 2 yards and they punted. There was another one, the one to start the second half or in the third quarter when they received the ball. They were also penalized there. So the negative plays do have to get cleaned up. Some of the penalties, some of the stuff where you're gaining absolutely zero. The fourth quarter was a little bit better, but you still had your doubts too because they had minus 14 yards there on 3 plays right in the middle of the fourth quarter, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen here after those 2 touchdowns?
That was the series where I said this is how a defense is supposed to respond.
Yeah, you're like,
right? I was like, that's how the defense is supposed to respond.
They respond and force the punt, and good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
I mean, look, I am optimistic that the defense is not actually as bad as they were yesterday. They will improve. They will be better. I have some level of concern that that we may not have the depth or the strength at the defensive line that we may have hoped we had. And this stems back from last year. I also am concerned that teams are scheming for our linebackers well enough that they're not getting the pressure we need them to get. TJ's going against a rookie tackle. I expect more than what we got. Justin Fields was early in the game getting the ball out quick, which mitigates the rush ability. They got closer to him as he held it, which just means, we'll see. I expect him to get better is the bottom line. I expect the defense to get better. If the offense just stays exactly where they were, that bodes well, right?
It makes you feel better against like a Kansas City or even Buffalo, Baltimore. I mean, we match up pretty good with Baltimore. But man,
if they don't fix the run game, the Baltimore games are going to be a hot mess if they don't fix the run defense.
Derrick Henry looks like a teenager playing against like peewee kids. You know what I mean? Like a high school kid, full grown ass man, and he's not slowing down anytime soon. So, but for now, this early part of the season, that looks like they'll be able to work on these things, we think, hopefully get back to full health. Brian, you said you had some stuff for the 2 percenters.
I do. So I think I'm going to several games this year. I'm not going to all of them. I put some tickets up for sale. And I know that you and I talked that there may be a guy that if I don't have... Right now, I'm going by myself is the bottom line of this conversation. Right now, I am going to the Seahawks game alone. So when we get to the preview portion of the Seahawks game, if I haven't found somebody to go with, we will put it out there for the listeners to see if somebody wants to spend time with the old man at the game.
So, well, there you go, folks. So drop in the comments. Brian will be keeping an eye on that. I may have a gentleman who actually listens to this show. And he knows who he is because he was texting me yesterday. He lives up by the those miserable people up on Lake Erie, so he gets to hear a whole lot of that. And he said, "What a difference!" And Jeff, you know what? You're absolutely right. What a difference having a good kicker. What a difference that makes, right? Because that was the difference in the Browns game. A whole point.
Oh, really? I didn't pay attention to the Browns game. Did they miss a field goal to lose?
Yeah, they've got that rookie kicker. So. After getting rid of Dustin Hopkins, who couldn't make anything.
I really wanted them to win that game because I'd much rather have the Bengals with a loss than the Browns with a win. Who cares? I don't expect the Browns to be good. If they managed to beat the Bengals and give them a loss early in the season, hey, that would have been awesome. So you screwed it up, damn it.
What do you expect from Cleveland? They finished today with their final possessions. They scored they actually. Now, what about this? The Steelers score on their opening drive, right? That was something else we're not used to seeing. Browns score. They get the ball to start the second half and score, and then this is the way their possession goes: interception, turnover on downs, punt, missed field goal, interception, end of game. That's That's rough, man. And everybody was talking about the Bengals. You have to watch out for Cleveland's defense still, because the Bengals punted
Their defense is good.
five times in the second half and had one field goal, which was off of one of the field position based on the turnovers. They got it on the 34. Cleveland's 34. So be interesting.
I mean, McDonald, the guy that was playing against Broderick on the Jets, made him look bad. I am not eager to see Broderick Jones go against Myles Garrett right now. I'm just not eager to see that.
Not right now. We'll see what ends up happening in the near future.
By the time we get there, hopefully.
Yep.
But right now, no, not at all.
I agree with you, my friend. We're in line. We are in sync. We're looking forward to more Steelers football. We will have a pregame show for you folks out there later this week. But until then, my name's Joe and his name's Brian. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a rating and review wherever you're watching or listening from. You are watching or listening to the Steel City Underground podcast. Until next time, we encourage all of our fans out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.